What does 3 to the second power mean? We learned this last week. This is an exponent form. What it means is we're going to take the big number, our base, in this case 3, and we're going to write it down this many times, in this case twice. So we write down 3 twice, and then we multiply those numbers together. So 3 times 3 is 9, which means that 3 to the second power, or sometimes called 3 squared, is 9. Now, most things in mathematics have some sort of opposite. Addition is the opposite of subtraction. Division is the opposite of multiplication. Exponents have an opposite too. They're called roots. The most common form of a root looks like this. This is a square root. You might notice that the symbol that we use, which is called a radical, looks kind of like a division box, but it's a little more spiky, and it has this little shelf on the front. If there is nothing on that shelf in the front, we can imagine that there is actually a 2 there. What this is asking us is, what number to the second power equals 9? We just looked at this in the previous slide. We know that if we multiply the number 3 by itself, 3 times 3, we will get 9. In other words, 3 to the second power is 9. So, if we are asked for the square root of 9, the answer would be 3, because 3 to the second power gives us the result 9. Let's look at that a little more algebraically. The square root of y is asking us what number to the second power equals y. We know that raising something to the second power means multiplying it twice, so this is asking us what number multiplied by itself gives us the result y. So the square root of y will be whatever that number is. Remember, if there's no number on this shelf, imagine that there's a 2 there. If the radical is blank, that means you're looking for the second power, or the square root. Let's look at some other examples. How about the square root of 16? What number raised to the second power, what number multiplied by itself, gives us 16? Well, 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16, which means that 4 to the second power, since there's 4 multiplied by 4, we've written down the number 4 twice, 4 to the second power is 16. Therefore, if we are asked what is the square root of 16, the answer would be 4. What is the square root of 25? In other words, what number to the second power gives us 25? Well, we just did 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 3, 3 to the second power, is 9. In the previous slide, 4 times 4, 4 to the second power, is 16. 5 times 5, 5 to the second power, gives us 25. Therefore, the square root of 25 would be 5. Let's look at another example. The square root of 36. You may notice a pattern in how I'm explaining things, but that's because there's really not a process to solving a square root that you don't know. They kind of become things you just have to have in your head. So 2 to the second power is 4. 3 to the second power is 9. 4 to the second power is 16. 5 to the second power is 25. The square root of 36 is 6, because 6 times 6, 6 to the second power, is 36. If we go up the number line, what do you think the square root of 49 would be? 6 times 6 is 36. 7 times 7 is 49. So the square root of 49 is 7, because 7 squared is 49. The square root of 64, you can probably guess just by the pattern we're seeing, is 8, because 8 times 8 is 64. 8 squared is 64, therefore the square root of 64 is 8. They are opposites to each other. So far in our examples, there has never been a number on this shelf, which means that really there should be a 2 on this shelf, because we're looking for the second power that gives us the answer underneath the radical. We're looking for the second root, or the square root. But you can put different numbers on that shelf. In this case, there's a 3 on that shelf. And what that means is, what number to the third power gives us 8? In our previous examples, we were just doing 2 times 2, or 3 times 3, or 4 times 4, the second power. In the third power, we're looking for a number times that same number times that same number. A multiplication problem with the same number 3 times that results in the answer 8. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So if we multiply the number 2 by itself 3 times, in other words, if we do 2 to the third power, we get 8. Therefore, the third root of 8 is 2, because 2 to the third power gives us the result 8. Whatever number you raise to the third power and you end up with the result 8, that's your answer. And in this case, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, the answer to the cube root, the other name for this, the cube root of 8 is 2. Whatever number we raise to the third power gives us the answer y. We multiply that same number 3 times and get the result y. Therefore, the cube root of y, in this case, is whatever number we multiplied those 3 times. Let's try and figure out the cube root of 27. Now, again, there's not really a way to figure this out if you don't know. You just kind of have to have them in your head, or at least be willing to think through how exponents work to figure out your answer. What number to the third power gives us 27? In the previous slide, we said 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Let's try 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. So the number that we raise to the third power is 3 if we get the result 27. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Therefore, the third root of 27 is 3. What number to the third power gives us 64? Well, we did 3 times 3 times 3 and got 27. Let's try the next number up. 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64. We multiply the number 4 3 times. We raise 4 to the third power. 4 times 4 times 4 gives us 64. So the third root of 64 is 4. How about 125? Now, if you're multiplying, there's really only one way that you can get an answer that has a 5 at the end. And that's if you are multiplying by some multiple of 5. If you see a number that ends in a 5, it really limits your options. So let's think of, well, we did 3 and we did 4. Let's go up the number line. What's next? 5 times 5 is 25. Times 5 is 125. If we multiply the number 5 3 times, 5 times 5 times 5, 5 to the third power, we get the result 125. Therefore, the third root of 125 is 5. Your homework due by our class tomorrow morning is listed in the homework folder of your OneNote as 19th of October Intro to Roots worksheet. Please get that done before we have class tomorrow morning. I'll see you then. Bye.